All right, so this morning we've got a panel. We're going to be discussing about the community. I think we all understand the notion of a community. We are part of a community. And I'll just start by introducing some things about the OpenMRS community, and then we can get to our panelists. So how many of us know what the OpenMRS mission is? Without looking at the website. How many of you know that community is actually part of OpenMRS's mission? That is mostly the people who've been around long enough, right? So I'm just going to read this really quickly. The OpenMRS mission, for those of you who don't know, is to improve healthcare delivery in resource-constrained environments by coordinating a global community. So the community concept is very central to OpenMRS. And then it's also part of the values of OpenMRS that says we're a community-driven organization. So which means that we believe in the best of ideas coming from diverse backgrounds and talents. So this morning, we're going to be discussing some aspects about what community means in OpenMRS. And particularly, we're going to try and ground that in two concepts or two notions around open innovation and open standards. And I think as we do that, just to remind us all, being informed that we've got about 220 people this week in this community meeting. And, just a little bit of some interesting statistics. OpenMRS is in 80 countries. We're supporting 8,100 sites across the world, and we are serving 22 million people. So that tells you that if we've got community at the heart of OpenMRS, and we've been able to do this, then we're likely doing the right thing. And so we want to discuss around that a lot today. And I'll invite our panelists. Just a couple of questions. So buckle up. We're going to have a discussion for the next 4 hours. And I think we have slides and presentations, but no. Yeah, but generally, I'll start with Moreri, who's closest to me. Just a couple of questions, and starting off with a statement that says that communities are the backbone of advancing open innovation and open standards. So I think to my panelists, I'd like to hear what you think about that statement. Is it true? Do you actually believe in that statement? And if you do, specifically with regards to OpenMRS, what does that mean to you as an individual and to your organization, and how has that actually translated into practical things that you've done with the community with regards to open standards and open innovation? Moreri.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. My name is Moreri Mwangi, and I work with UCSF on a project named TAP, and we are doing a lot of work in OpenMRS. That said, I'll go directly to the question that Steve has asked, how a community is a backbone for innovation. So looking at how far, and I'll be very specific to the health space that we are all in, and the digitization agenda that has been there. When a lot of us began this work, it was hard to do this work because nothing was existent for us to be able to do the work. However, communities like OpenMRS came up, and I'll talk on cases like the Kenya case where this whole initiative came from. It grew, and in the growth that we've seen so far, to a point that right now we are looking at things like OpenMRS 3.x, which is a game changer in revolutionizing how health is offered in various countries in the globe generally. The community has been integral to this. Why do I say this? If you take a journey alone, you tend to find that you're not able to go very far. However, once you leverage the community, you find that things become quickly very easy for you to do. And for me, working in UCSF, we have been able to leverage the community, contribute to the community, but more importantly, been able to harvest or take from what the community has been doing. What this has meant is that for the various implementations and countries that we support, we've been able to go fast because we are not having to reinvent the wheel. We are picking from things that have already been done. And the beauty about all this is that all the work that is being done is based and grounded on standards. So we are not having to do things the old way, and it's immediately giving value to a lot of implementers and a lot of countries. So for me, I think that is how I see the community as being, the backbone for innovation. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Anthony Ojuang. I work with Palladium. I'm also the community representative. So I look at the topic and I agree with it fully, being that a community first is defined to be a group of people with common interests who want to achieve common goals. And just to support what Mwariri has said, we are organized in that we don't do things anyhow. We have a route that we've decided to take in order to achieve the goals that we've set. And in our organization, we have several layers. We have organizations in country looking at various groups, including the academia, including implementing partners that we work with, and globally that is focusing on everyone else that is part of this community. And we come together not just as technical people, but also non-technical people, domain experts who have a role to play in shaping up what OpenMRS looks like and how the community is driven. Practically, we've had various contributions. We've been part of many teams around concept modeling, forms and workflows. I think previously people thought that the community is majorly the developers. But I think going by what we see currently, we have squadding around business analysis, just focusing on requirements gathering. We have UI UX doing a lot of designs and making sure that we get workflows right. We have squadding around quality assurance and even implementations. And so all these put together with proper structures enable us to avoid duplication of efforts, having to do things in multiple places. Actually, it's usually very sad to realize that whatever you are trying to figure out has been done by someone else. So with the community, we are able to ensure that the right people have the right organization, have the right structures, and the right innovations and standards across board so that we get things right the first time we do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I think as we go to Romain, and as you answer the question, MICOM are known for innovations and being very bold in terms of adapting standards early enough. But MICOM are also a very key community player, for a very long time. So again, do you think OpenMRS as a community has done enough to advance open innovation, open standards? What do you think could be done better? Yeah, just in your opinion.
Hey, Stephen. I am Roman from MICOM Solutions. We've been in the OpenMRS community for 12 years now. So, I mean, we started OpenMRS, we were very newcomers. We had this hospital starting in Laos when we started, actually. And we've been very welcomed by the community when that happened. We just chose OpenMRS, we implemented there, and there was many folks in the community on the forum that helped us so much. So this has really kick-started and helped us start the business, and we are very happy for that. We saw that value right away, and hopefully we wanted to participate to this community, so we gave as much as possible back to it. I think at this point now we are a non-community member, and we've participated and shared a lot with this community. Hopefully, we are helping new groups like we were joining this community. So without it, obviously, I don't think we could be much. So thanks for that. We saw as the years going by, we gained trust from different partners and groups within this community. We became a trusted implementing partner, and we were able to work with some of you guys, and so that's very good. This is also a good thing about a community, is that you can start to create this environment when you can work with one another, everyone being specialized in their own area. So that's very valuable. This community has also really pushed us towards innovation. There is definitely room to create your own project, to create your own tech, to iterate on top of OpenMRS, to add more components to it, to add more feature to it. Everyone is always very open to new functionality. So that is indeed that has indeed very much facilitated innovation. So there is also something with the community, and is that there is many people gravitating around the community, and this have allowed us to hire some talents, to discover some talents, and I think most of the people that are working with us now are coming from the OpenMRS community. So this is across the world, and this is quite impressive. So I want to thank the community for that as well. Now, as per what we could improve, that's a good question. Yeah, that's that's a tough one to think of now. I think there will be a session this evening, right, about how OpenMRS community, and we had this discussion with Andrew this morning during breakfast, how the OpenMRS community can improve and help implementers across the world develop their business. That is definitely something to investigate. For us, I mean, to be honest, it has helped us a lot already. So I know many of you did many efforts to put MECOM in the front, to try to advertise it, to try to defend it and show to potential clients and groups and hospitals, etc., that MECOM is a good implementer to choose, and we very much recognize that. So thanks for that.
All right, Michael, it's good to reconnect again in Nairobi. Welcome. So Michael, I think for you, in addition to the same question that I've asked the other panelists, you've been at OpenMRS for a long time. You've seen OpenMRS go through different phases of innovation, adapting standards. Right now, we're in the space where there's a lot of excitement around FHIR, there's a lot of excitement around open content like smart guidelines. OpenMRS 3 is an innovation, through the community. What are your thoughts about what role the community has played? Has it played that really effectively? And how do you want to do this differently?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Seaton from Partners in Health. That's a really big question, Steve. I couldn't hope to answer it comprehensively. I think I've been working in and around this community in the space for since nearly the beginning, and so I really grew up in OpenMRS. Learned pretty much everything I know in my career from what I've learned from people in this room and from the community. So, to me, it's hard to separate that from the question. I think I look at it very personally in terms of everything I've learned about software development, domains that I never had any introduction before, like React and the things that we're doing right now, software design, and pretty much everything about health informatics. The health informatics domain I've learned from people in this room, other colleagues that have been through the community that are not here today. So I think, for me, without the community, I wouldn't be at all in a position where I can contribute or I'm sitting on this stage at all. So imagine many of us in this room can say that. It's really humbling to see where the community is today and how big it's grown. And I try not to think about it all the time because I think that it's intimidating when you hear about how many places it is, how many people are involved, and how many credentials they have next to their names and things like that. And for me, I think we just want to keep up the work that we've been doing, continue to grow the community, and to enable what we started out trying to do to support 1 or 2 sites at Partners in Health to help us to grow to 1 or 2 other countries in a scalable way. And at PIH, our model of care is really, what I learned at the beginning when I joined PIH was, we're in a handful of countries. We feel strongly about the model of care that we're trying to promote, to bring a preferential option of care to the communities that most need it. But we can't go everywhere. And so there's a model of care that we're hoping other organizations and groups, will take up, and will be able to deliver that level of care everywhere together as a global community. And the technology platform, the EMR, is a big part of that. And so for us, it's never been a question about do we do something by ourselves or do we do it as a community. I think in order to be able to deliver that and scale that, that's what's required. So that's what I'd have to say.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Grace, I don't know how much time we have. Okay. So I think I'll invite the audience to ask 3 questions. And as we start, I actually want to put Buck on the spot. So yesterday at lunch, Buck said something that I actually found very profound. And Buck, you said that the source is not code, but people. What did you mean?
So it always bothered me that open source seemed to focus on the code. And the more I was involved in working with folks like all of you and folks in the open source community, it seemed so much more important who the people were. And I was actually at Regenstrief, where I work. They were trying to come up with a new tagline or something, and they made little T-shirts. And it never went anywhere, but the T-shirt they had created said, "I am the source." And so I got this T-shirt, and I put it on, and I was looking at it, and I was like, wait a minute, I am the source. You are the source. It made so much more sense, because in open source, it's not about the code. When code can change, you can change from Ruby to Java to Python to things get rewritten all the time. People are forking and changing, and code is an evolving and moving thing. But what really matters are the people. And so I also saw so many times the challenge in open source is that coders, developers say, "Oh, I'll share it once I get it ready." When it's done. And people are afraid to share their crappy code. And the reality is, and we learned this early on, Paul and I, when we were first asked to try to take the system, and way before we were ready, Bill Tierney at the time said, "Hey, we're going to make a grant, and we're going to put this system not only in AMPATH, but in Uganda and Tanzania." And we said, "Are you kidding? Like, we can barely get it to run here, much less get it to run in other countries." And so when we had a meeting and folks from Uganda and Tanzania joined us, we thought, well, maybe we can prevent this from happening by just showing how horrible the system is. And so we said, "Oh, you can barely start it, it's broken, like it takes all this effort to get it running," hoping maybe these developers that had come to join us would think, "Oh, that's a stinky pile of whatever," and we wouldn't have to do the project. And this bright young Ugandan sitting in the back of the room, I remember the dark glasses, and he said, "Oh yeah, all that can get fixed, but the data model, we could do this, we could do this." That young Ugandan was Daniel Kayiwa. But it really taught us, I think that lesson from that experience was that being actively transparent, showing your work, showing it in progress. And that so often in the world of open source is a challenge, is getting the person, getting the developer to open up and share. And so to me, when I think of open source, I don't think about opening up the code. I think about opening up the person. And I think about that African proverb of we can walk farther together. And so to me, that's what open source is. It's the people.
Thanks a lot, Bart. All right, so in the few minutes left for this panel, I'd like to give a chance to 3 people. If you're here for the first time in the OpenMRS community meeting, and you're brave enough to want to say why this matters to you and why you're here, would really like to hear from you.
Good morning. I would call you delegates because you're from different places to come and probably share experiences and learn. I'm Patrick Kiza. I hail from the western part of Uganda, and I work for the foundation. I call it the foundation, Baylor College of Medicine, Children's Foundation, Uganda. I implement the build on of OpenMRS called Uganda EMR Now Plus. And I'm happy that myself and the organization that I work with, we are the pioneers of the OpenMRS 3. I think you are speaking about it. So I'm here with my colleague, who I would say is my supervisor, Mr. Emmanuel Tumwine, the M&D manager. I work as the Health Information Systems lead. The trigger for being in Nairobi. Over time, as I'll speak from the grassroots implementation of, in this case, OpenMRS, which I'm going to synthesize into Uganda EMR for Uganda. Over time, with the growth in the different needs of patient-level care, we've seen that there are tasks that come through as we are looking at patients in remote rural health facilities, whereby the setup might quite be different from probably town areas, but here we see the need for data management being taken to community level. Data management being taken to all points of services within the clinic. Now, this is where EMR comes from. Community EMR, what we call Uganda EMR Mobile, for the far hard to reach areas that EMR can be on a tablet, and you go and offer services to the people. You do point of service data capture real time. Then you come and sync back to the facility, and you do reporting come end of the month or the quarter or the year to the donor. So that to me was a trigger to come and meet a community of experts, I would probably say like-minded, who are on the verge of using technology to achieve universal health coverage. And that side, greetings from the Pearl of Africa.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who feels confident enough and from a different region, continent, tell us, what does this community mean to you?
Good morning. My name is Catherine Wanjiro Bishero. I'm from Kenya, from Nyeri County. I am a user of the Kenya EMR 3.x. First of all, I want to appreciate the Palladium team for giving me this opportunity to come and attend this conference. It's my very first. Wamagana Health Center is the pioneer facility in Nyeri County to have the 3.x. And being the pioneer facility, we have some teething problem, but with the assistance from the Palladium and the county government of Nyeri, we might not be 100%, but for sure we are heading there. So some of the advantages of using the 3.x is that most of you who are clinician can agree with you that most of the time when we are attending to our clients, we go through shortcuts where we do the details of the patient, then you come to the complaints, then you go direct to the management. But with the 3.x, the way they have aligned it, you're able to go through the details of the patient. There's that format that they have said that you have to take the comprehensive history of a patient. You go to the physical examination or the general examination of the patient, and then you go to management. And I can assure you that with that, there's a lot of improvement that I have noted in management of our patient. Other advantages that I have seen is that we have improvement in following up of our patient throughout all the levels. That is from the level 1 to the level 6. When you refer your client from either level, you're able to get a good follow-up, therefore also improving the care of the patient. Then we have a good clinical documentation and diagnosis. This is whereby if I'm the first clinician who is attending to a patient, the next time that patient comes to the hospital, the next clinician is able to see how I attended to that patient, so that improves the care of the patient. Then there is the registration and the appointment. And then there is the clinical data reporting, whereby at the end of the month, there's the self-generation of reports. So it makes the work easier for me. So despite the challenges, I know and appreciate the Palladium team for choosing Nyeri County, and I hope that they are going to spread the system, the 3.x, to the whole of Nyeri County. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for just one more person. If you're here for the first time and you just want to share your experience so far, expectations.
Thank you so much. So I have been part of the OpenMRS community for around 3 years. I started as a GSOC student, and this is my first time that I'm attending the OpenMRS conference in person. So looking at my hard work and everything, I got a job at Mecom, and Grace and whole team included me in the global product support team as well. So what I want to share is that I want to share a developer experience in here. So as a developer, when I see so many people coming here from all over the world, that actually feels really good that I'm working on something affecting so many people around the world, and it's being used in real world. Sorry. It's being used in the real world scenarios. Tomorrow we'll be moving ahead for the site visits. So that will be my first site visit. So I'm so excited to see that so many people are being affected by the work that we do at OpenMRS, at Mecom. And I'm so grateful for all of that. And thank you so much.
All right. I think we're going to wrap up the session, and I'll ask my panelists in their closing remarks. What is the one thing that you'd like to see different in this community in the next 1 year? Moriri.
Yeah, that's always a tough one, but I'll do my best to answer. And I'll give a sort of narrative to get to my answer. So, like we said at the beginning, a community is a collection of people with similar ideology who are working towards the same thing. And that's what we have here. So what this community does and how it's been set up, a lot of people in this room I know and I've known for a while. But a community should also be welcoming of new people. And in the recent past, there has been, as OpenMRS makes these great strides to becoming adopted by a lot of people, there has been this great push from a lot of quarters, a lot of countries for people to integrate into the community. So I want to see it easy for people who are previously not part of the community to integrate into the community. How can we do this? How can we make this happen? So looking at the collection of people, and Ojwang mentioned this, we have a diverse skill set of people ranging from business analysts, we have clinicians, we have developers, we even have users like our colleague from Plenary who is actually using the system. So I would like to see an OpenMRS where all the activities that we do as a community are geared towards making a product and building the community in such a way that the outputs that we build, what we come up with, is so easily adaptable and adoptable by new entrants into the community, and they get the support that they need. Again, I'll speak from personal experience, and as an organization, we get a lot of requests from people who want to implement OpenMRS in various stages. And I can call out a few countries like Ethiopia, who've recently made the big switch from SmartCare to OpenMRS and looking towards a target of having 100 implementations by end of this month. I think that deserves a clap. I mean, that's huge, right? We're also looking at people who are transitioning from older versions of OpenMRS and they're trying to get onto the new 3.x because it's doing what it's supposed to do. And so for me, going forward, I'd just like to see a way that it's easy for everyone to integrate into the community, get whatever they need in the quickest way possible, and get them up and running and able to leverage these innovations that we are coming with. I mean, at the end of it all, it's supposed to be for the betterment of human life. So for me, that's how I'd like to see things in the next 1 year. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Anthony?
Yes, so mine is almost same, but I would say that I want to challenge everyone to come up with a to-do list for the next 1 year so that we track that list and review it when we meet again next year. I think most of the time we come to the conference with some things to figure out. It would be nice to actually report back that from the conference, I met ABC, we were able to discuss, and now we are fine. So I think it's a challenge to everyone that just do a list of 2 to 3 items which we can review in the next meeting. And definitely we'll be happy to see everyone again in the next meeting. Thank you.
That's very practical, Anthony, and I think that's something we can actually do, Grace. Hopefully, everyone can find a way to share with us your 3 top things that you want to achieve, and we'll hold each other accountable next year at the next year's OpenMRS meeting. Romain.
Thank you. For us at MECOM, I guess, one thing I'm talking more about the community of developers here. One thing that I would like is more testing of the product. That's a technical detail, but that's something that can reassure us implementers to have a strong, stable, and tested product. So that is something, technical task, that I would like to see improved in a year's time. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Michael.
Thank you. That's a tough question. I just want to second, what everyone else has already said. I think I agree with all the sentiments so far. And yeah, over the next year, I think I just want to continue seeing the growth that we've seen over the last couple of years, especially with O3. More and more organizations contributing back to the product in a way that I see our team running more software, more components that we didn't build, that we were not the primary developers of, and we're sort of really experiencing the full collaborative effect of the whole community and developing the whole product together. So that's certainly already happened, but to continue to see that growing more and more forward would really be exciting over the next year. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Before we give a clap to our panelists, and yeah, we're going to take a photo as well. I think with the discussions that we've had centering around the community, I'd like to move a motion. So, and the motion is building up from what Buck has convinced, at least I'm convinced about, I'm the source. The problem I have is that there is a tagline in OpenMRS that says, write code, save lives. So I'd like to say, be present, contribute, and save lives this week. Thank you very much. Let's give a hand of applause to the panelists.